Hi, welcome to a New York Minute. This is Pearl Street in Lower Manhattan. Back in 1524, when Europeans first sailed into New York Bay, believe it or not, this was the ancient shoreline of Manhattan. At the time, the island was inhabited by a Native American people known as the Lenape. Contemporary accounts all characterize the Lenape as deep-thinking, soft-spoken, generous, and affable. They were semi-nomadic and moved between different campsites spread throughout the area. Archaeologists have identified about 100 Lenape sites within the 5 boroughs, and one of them is right behind me. That fancy building you see back there is the old U.S. Customs House, and it was built on the site of a Lenape camp. That camp sat at the end of a long trail that ran the entire length of Manhattan, and was later turned into the street we now call Broadway. 8th Street, Bleecker Street, and the Bowery all follow Native American trails as well. Now, back to where I'm standing, Pearl Street. As I said, this was the ancient shoreline, and being so close to a Lenape camp, it was a handy place to gather oysters, which used to thrive in New York Bay. Generations of Lenape would sit here and eat the meat, but throw away the shells, leaving stacks as high as a man's head, according to one sailor's account. The arriving Dutch wasted no time sifting through them to pluck out the pearls, which had no value to the Lenape. Hence, Pearl Street. And once the Dutch set up shop in 1624, the Lenape were subjected to an ongoing program of exploitation, massacre, and displacement, which continued up until the 20th century. Some might say it still continues to this day. Look, I know the persecution of Native Americans is a dark part of this country's history, but we've got to own up to it, the same way we acknowledge all the great stuff that happened here. There is some good news, though, and that is that the Lenape still exist as a people. There are tribes in Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Ontario, and people in those communities are working hard to preserve their culture. To end on a positive note, in 2018, Lenape from across the country gathered uptown at the Park Avenue Armory for their first powwow in Manhattan since the 1700s. The Lenape will come up again on future episodes of A New York Minute. I hope you'll join us too.